Today we're installing Soffit lighting. Alright guys, so today we're going to be installing some Soffit lighting. So let's go over the materials and then we'll go over the tools here in just a minute. So obviously you're going to need your lights. I'm going to be installing 2 of them over my garage. So I've got the 2 lights here. You're going to need some wire for it. I'm going to be using 12 2-wire. We've got a switch box here and we've got our switch we're going to be using. We got some wire nuts, a junction box, and these are called plastic connectors. I don't know the proper name exactly, but that's what it's called on the package here. But basically, those are the pieces that are going to snap into here, so when we put our wire in, you won't be able to pull it back out. So I've got 2 different sizes. I've got 3/8 to 1/2 inch and then 3/4. And the reason I've got those is because on each side of this box there's a 1/2 inch hole, and on the opposite sides there's 2 3/4 holes. So depending on how many wires you have coming into the box is going to depend on what size and what type you need and all that stuff. So anyway, so let's go over. The switch here is actually a smart dimmer switch. The only reason I'm putting a dimmer switch on it is because somebody had sent me a couple of these. I installed one inside the house, and I had one that I wasn't real sure what I was going to use it on. But I like the fact that I can control it using Wi-Fi. So it's going to be out here on our garage, so I can turn the lights on when we pull up into the driveway, essentially, with my phone. So that way we've got some extra light so we can get the kids out of the van and stuff like that. But that's the reason we're using the smart dimmer switch here. You can use a regular switch, or actually you can wire it up to a motion detector. You can wire it up to where they come on whenever it turns dark. There's all kinds of ways that people wire up the Soffit lighting. So anyway, so that's our material we're going to be using. Alright guys, as far as tools go, you're going to need some source of light. So I'm going to be using a headlamp and also some shop lights. If you're using shop lights that require power, you will also need some extension cords, and you need to be sure and plug those into a circuit that you're not going to be working on, since you will have to turn the power off, obviously. Fish sticks are also really handy when you're doing electrical work. These are glow-in-the-dark fish sticks, so that way you can spot them in a really dark attic. You will need some drill bits to be able to drill a hole for your wire and also for your fish sticks to go through. I've got a 1-inch paddle bit that I'm going to be using to drill through the header so I can run wire down to my switch box. A Phillips screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, wire strippers, wire cutters, a drill, and also a voltage detector. These things are very handy, and they basically let you know whether there's power on the line that you're about to work on or not. Essentially, it detects voltage. So I will be putting a link down in the description below for all the tools and materials, so be sure and look for that. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the light real quick. Inside the box, you're going to find the user manual, a template, and also the light itself, of course. Here's the template, and it actually has instructions on it as well. So then the bottom of the box, you have your junction box. This is where your wires are going to be going in. And you'll see that there are 3 different types, or there's 3 connectors inside of here. You have a black one, a white one, and also one for your ground. And these are what's called quick connectors. That is the connector that connects to your light itself. And there's the other side that actually connects to that. As you can see, it has 2 little prongs there. You'll have to line that up just like this. And then you're going to go ahead and put this little plastic nut over it and screw it down tight. And that's essentially how that works. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put our plastic connector in. I've already knocked out the little round knockout. And then we're going to slide our wire into place here. And you'll notice once you get it in there, it won't pull back out unless you pull super hard, and then it'll just pull the whole thing out. For the connectors, you're going to want to strip off about a 1/2 inch of insulation, and then you just slide it into place. And pretty much like the same as that plastic connector, once you push it in, it don't pull back out. Alright, I just wanted to real quickly go over the light a little bit because whenever I was filming, it was kind of difficult to see what I was actually doing. So anyway, let's get back to the actual project. As you can see, we're using the template to mark where our hole needs to be, and then we're going to use 10 snips to actually cut it out. My soffit is made of plastic, some of them are metal, and others are wood. So depending on what your soffit is made of is going to depend on what you want to use for this part. Alright, now we're cutting out the hole for our switch box. I drew out the size I needed and drilled 4 the holes in each corner. That way I could use my jigsaw to cut the hole out. You can also use a keyhole saw. I'll be sure and put a link in the description below for that as well. Alright, now we're drilling our hole through our header so we can run our 2 wires down to our switch box. We're going to be running 2 wires down there. The first one's going to be from the first light in the series. And then we're going to run a second wire down there, and we're going to run it to our junction box where we're getting power from. Alright, now we've got our wires pulled down. We just need to install our switch box. So we'll pull them through the back of our switch box. You may have to work at it for a minute. Alright, so this switch box is what's called an old work switch box. It has these 2 tabs that once you tighten it, they flip up and pull it tight up against the drywall, so that way you don't have to actually attach it to a stud, and that's what I'm doing here. Now we're running the wire from the switch down to the first light in the series. Now we're running a wire from the first light in the series to the second light in the series. That should be our last wire we need to run. Alright, so now we're actually pulling the wire back down into the second hole since I'm wiring these in series. Alright, now we're just going to cut off the wire to a manageable length. I'll leave about a foot sticking out of each hole. And now I'm wiring up the last one in the series. Basically, we're just going to hook the ground wire to the yellow quick connector, the white wire to the white quick connector, and then the black wire to the black quick connector. Alright, now we're wiring up the first one in the series. And you'll notice that I have 2 wires ran here. I lost a little bit of footage, but all I did was run another wire from that first hole up into the attic. So we're going to be wiring this the same way. We're just going to hook 2 black wires to the black connector, 2 white wires to the white connector, and 2 ground wires to the ground connector. Alright, when all that's done, all we do is screw in our new light, just like I showed you earlier. And then you use those little spring pieces to hold it into place. And all the outside work's done now. If you're installing a standard switch, this is the wiring diagram that you can use if you're wiring 2 lights in series like I am. My wiring of the switch is going to be slightly different because of the type of switch I'm using. If you want more details on this specific switch, I'll put a link down in the description below. I made a video showing installing this specific switch because it's wired slightly different. Once all the wiring's done, you can go ahead and test your lights. And these will dim down all the way to 10% if you want to put them on a dimmer switch. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next week.